Oh my god, people. Oh my freaking god. Excuse the fact that my hair looks terrible and I'm wearing a bathrobe, but I've already worked out. It's nighttime. And people, I'm going to try to keep track. I would like to, this is going to take multiple videos. Okay, go to the blog, The Teacher Saga. I can't start with it. Tomorrow I'll do the beginning. I can't believe this woman is a teacher. I can't believe I'm paying her thousands of dollars to teach my daughter. It's unfreaking believable. She's such a complete moron. The interesting thing about all of this, as this is unfolding for me, is the realization that she's just dense. I mean, I was maybe misinterpreting some of her stupidity as intentional acting out, as I like to usually attribute to most people. I get it from my mom. Oh god, here's the deal, people. What am I? Here are the things you need to know. I was class parent. Super thorough. I mean, you would wish I was your class parent. I'm not just saying that to pat myself in the back. I mean, like, I'm insanely timely, thorough, you know. I'm the person you'd want. Alright. I mean, totally of my own, take ridiculous amounts of time to make, you know, perfect lists and write-ups for everybody. You know, I could get into it. Okie dokie. The teacher, I guess I'm starting at the beginning. She wanted a field trip coordinator. She wanted somebody other than herself to line up all the parents for field trips. Fine. The other teachers do this, but whatever. Nobody signed up at parent orientation to be that person because it's totally time consuming. So, as class parent, I was willing to fill in the gap and do that. Big deal. I don't mind writing emails, that's basically what you have to do. I got everyone who wanted to or could potentially drive to give me their name and how many kids they can fit in their car, so, you know, whatever you just put on the list. I asked the teacher, as soon as she could, to tell me when the field trips were, because obviously people need time to get their schedules in line in order to do this, or they might not know this week if they, you know what I mean. She didn't really seem to understand why I needed that. But she wrote me a little notey note. Totally, also, not to judge, but I don't like this kind of handwriting. Wrote a little note. All it says is, field trip to the park on Friday from 9:30 to 11:30. That's it. Well, now, when I tell the parents that there's a field trip, they're going to want to know exactly what kind of field trip, right? Because you might not want to go on some field trips, or you might not be able to go on some field trips, or you might have younger kids at home who shouldn't go on certain field trips. You kind of need to know, not just the park. So, and I would feel like a freaking jackass sending an email saying, field trip at the park. I mean, like, it's ridiculous. I hope this is from her, people. It's not. I can't believe it. Okay. Okay. I can barely look at myself. She's such an idiot. Okay. So, I don't need to freak out. I need to freak out. I have all this crazy nervous energy about it. I hope Mr. F comes out of the kids' room soon so I can tell him what happened. Alright, I sent her an email. Could you tell me more about the field trip? You know, like, i.e. what's going on? She doesn't respond to me. The next day I see her at school and I say, did you get my email? And she's like, yeah, but I didn't understand it. And I'm thinking, alright. The courteous thing to do would be to reply, I don't know what you mean, not just not respond. That was my first tip off that I didn't want to work with her. The second thing, what do you not understand? So I said, I'm like, I don't know what you mean. Like, I just want to know what's happening on the field trip. And she's like, yeah, I mean, we're just going to the park. And I'm like, no, what are we doing at the park? And she's like, and I'm like, you know, I kind of need to sell it. And she's like, oh, you shouldn't need to sell it. You know, like, people should drive because I said it's important for the curriculum. It's like, well, we're not your service. I'm like, yeah, I've done this before. Like, no, people are going to want to know what's going on. And she's like, you know, not answering me. And so I'm just kind of now, and I'm not even imitating her because I'm already so giddy with how crazy she is. She was definitely like curt and dismissive. And so I waited, and then I went up to her and I'm like, no, seriously, I actually need to know, because half of the drivers have small children and we all need to know what's happening at the thing, if it's appropriate to take kids. And she's like, of course it's appropriate to take kids. Well, we don't know that if we don't know what the heck it is. And I'll make that decision, because I took baby on a lot of field trips last year that weren't appropriate for kids, and I wouldn't do it again for little kids. Okay. So I get in my car, and I'm just going to say that, yes, I was PMSing. At the time, I didn't know that. So I was especially angry. Although I think I was justifiably angry, I was just really feeling it. And I got in the car, and I was practically shaking, and I kind of wanted to cry because I was so mad. And I'm one of those people that when you have to have a confrontation, I cry even though I'm furious. You know what I mean? I'm just that kind of person. I get home. I'm totally pissed off at the way that she talked to me and made it sound like I'm an idiot. So I write an email that was actually super to the point. Right away, I decide I'm not going to do field trips. I said, you know, I've done my best to recruit parent volunteers. No one signed up to be the field trip coordinator. I think that, you know, without additional information outside of just the date and time of a field trip, I'm not the best person to facilitate that role. I said, you know, parents have other time commitments like jobs and children that they need to work around, and the more time they have to make those arrangements, the better. And I said, I think that this information would be best coming from you. I can't take on this role. And I gave her included right there. I wrote out who can drive and how many kids. Done. Then she calls me and we have our altercation. Then I write her the note saying, I'm not class parent. Done. You can read all that in the blog. Okay. Then, because I'm so crazy thorough, I actually made, you know, like a real sign-in sheet, you know, on a grid with the parents who signed up and the number of kids. Just to be official, print them out, give one to the other class parent and one to her. And I did the same thing with all the people who signed up. Basically, I had sign-up sheets and people signed it in you know, their handwriting, and I just typed up version. I emailed attachments of those and I printed them out, and in the email I said, here's the attachments. I will bring hard copies for your mailboxes on Monday, today. In the email it says that. The end. What am I at? Okay. I'm being pretty quick. Then, I never get a response from any of that stuff. 2 days later, an email goes out to everyone in the class about field trips. Unbelievably, she actually took all of my advice, even though she completely belittled me, and on the phone in our altercation even said, honestly, I don't really know what people need to know other than the park for 2 hours. You know, I was like, I don't know, they need to know if they need to bring a lunch, they need to know if they can bring their children, they need to know if we're picking up trash or playing games. I mean, like, hello? And as a parent, and she is also a parent, you just kind of, the more information you know about what your kids are doing, the better you feel. Especially when you're paying thousands of dollars. Okay. Especially when you're taking the kids off campus. I kind of want to know exactly what you're doing. Anyway, so she completely belittled it. But I was happy to see, on one hand, that she completely took my advice. She did it. She didn't ask someone else to do it, as I suggested she do it herself. She did, and she wrote out descriptions of everything that was going to happen. Great. Now, the small part in me wanted to write a thing pointing out that it was my idea by saying, which I think I could have kind of done, been like, you know, thanks so much for implementing my suggestions. I really appreciate it. I'm sure the other parents do too. But the big part of me decided to rise above and just let it go. Because honestly, she's the kind of crazy person who, when I say it, it's a bad idea. 2 days later, she thinks it was her own idea. You know those people? She's one of them. Today, in the morning, go to school, drop off the hard copies, right? I just got an email from her. It literally says, I'm unable to open the document with the information about how many children each driver can take. Could one of you please print it out and give me a hard copy? I already did that. Remember when she told me proactive problem solvers weren't helpful on a team? Seems they are, right? Not only did I already do it, I already gave her another email with it written out in the email. So I respond, people. I respond, kind of direct and to the point. I say, I already did. It's in your mailbox, in the classroom. It's also the same as the list I emailed to you the other day. To which she responds, Rachel, the email from the other day was the one I was referring to. And then I respond, jackass. No, I don't. I actually respond. I'm like, no, the email from Friday with the list of parents at the bottom. I'm like, it's exactly the same as the attachment, and it's the exact same form I printed out and put in your mailbox today. And then I emailed her that original email again. I mean, can you believe it? But here's the thing. Here's the kicker. So she emails me like 3 freaking times asking for the same piece of information. Doesn't get it because she's stupid. And then once she realizes she's a jackass, she doesn't respond like, oops, my bad, sorry. She just doesn't respond again. I think you know why I hate her.